Oh, I am so close. So close, so close, so close, so close. Best day ever, part 1. Rainbow Dash squinted and blinked her eyes, trying to clear her vision. All she could see was white. It felt like she was hovering in the air, even though her wings were close to her sides. Her memories began to flood her mind as the white appeared to be fading. A monster ruined the picnic my friends and I were having. I tried to stop it from taking my friends and knocked me out. Then I woke up somewhere totally far from Ponyville. Met this awesome guy named Sonic, whose friends were also taken by that monster. And we worked together to save our friends, and we all visited familiar places, got beat, and beat us to be bad guys. We then confronted the monster at the time here. There was a huge fight, and then... Her eyes widened as she remembered what had seemingly just happened. A tear in her eye opening up in front of her and pulling her through it. As she went through the opening in the white, her host came into contact with the grass as she was set down gently. She looked around and saw a hill, a wooden fence going alongside of it, several trees nearby. Where am I? She wondered out loud. Almost as soon as she asked the question, she saw 5 light glows appear near her, forming a circle including her. As she watched, each of her friends were deposited into the grass, all of them looking a bit surprised for a moment before they looked around in confusion. Rainbow noticed that their coats and manes had returned to their usual appearances. Twilight was back to being a unicorn, for now. First-Eye's wings were Pegasus wings again. They're all still wearing their elements of harmony. Looking down at herself, she saw that she too had returned to normal and was still wearing her element of loyalty necklace. After a moment, Rainbow looked down and asked, "Hey, you guys okay?" The others looked at her and Applejack. And her Pinky, standing close to the science Pegasus, said, "I reckon so, Rainbow, but what was all that loud about?" She looked to the left, behind Rainbow, and noticed that the fence around it ended abruptly further down from the girls. Standing on a flat piece of grass in the lake, said, "Where are we? Pretty positive I haven't been here before." Twilight was standing across from Rainbow and Rarity, and Fluttershy on her left and right respectively. Looked up and murmured, Frosty looked over and asking, "Twilight, do you have any idea where we are?" "Not that that's a problem you don't know. I'm just asking." Fluttershy Unicorn replied, "I can't say. I know for certain, Fluttershy, but maybe..." She stopped short and her eyes widened as she remembered something else. She looked at her friends and asked, "Wait, what happened to Sonic, Spike, and everybody else?" Her friend's eyes widened and the 6 of them started looking around again, searching for some sign that the blue hedgehog and their friends and family were all right. Rarity soon noticed something when she looked to her right and pointed to the host, saying, "Look, over there!" The other 5 mares all looked where she was pointing to an empty picnic table sitting near the cedar tree, light glow flowing in front where they were standing right of it. After a moment, the glow deposited a familiar blue hedgehog wearing a bracelet on his left wrist in front of the table. After sinking his head to clear the sight disorientation, Sonic looked around and quickly recognized where he was. "Hey, this is..." He started before he remembered something. Tilted his head up. He saw his present from Tails flying straight down toward him, flipping end over end as it came down. He raised and swung his right hand, clearly catching the chili dog in it, holding it up to his face and giving a sniff before taking a long way and taking a bite of it. "Still warm," he commented, then chuckled as he tossed it in the air and caught. Time travel does have its benefits. Second later, he heard Pinkie Pie call, "Sonic!" He turned to his left and looked. He smiled as he saw Twilight, Fluttershy, Rarity, and Applejack quickly trying towards him, while Rainbow flew and Pinkie Pie bounced over. Twilight reached him first, followed by Fluttershy, Rainbow, Pinkie, Rarity, and Applejack. They all smiled at him, or Pinkie's case grinned at him. Before anyone could say anything, they all heard a sound coming from the picnic table, and turned to see more white glows appear on the other side of it above the table. As they watched, they saw all their friends, families, and rivals, save for Tails and Spike, were deposited before them. The Q Crusaders being set down on top of the table, while everyone else appeared behind it. They all looked around at each other for a moment or two in confusion, before they saw the 7 standing on the other side of the table, and many of them began cheering. Many of the ponies whinnying. There was also a distinctive yelp heard as the cheers began to die down. "My, this has got to be crowded!" Luna managed to retain her composure and instead gave Sonic and the Element Bearers a nod, while Celestia gave Shadow, Gilda, and the Babylon Rogues simply acted disinterested for their own reasons. Applewood's Lee Bell's Scootaloo soon led towards their sire pony, giving them a hug. Knuckles was the first to say something. "Goal admit, you guys made one heck of a team back there." Jet rolled his eyes. You're okay." Amy just simply glared at the author in the fic, and then walked away. "Bye! Nope, not doing this." Sonic and Main Six, as well as some of the others, looked on surprised at the display, but Fluttershy looked over the table to go help Jet, while Rainbow and Applejack sought Rarity a look, as if daring her to comment on how Amy was just as ticked off as Fluttershy was at this story. After a moment, they heard Spike's voice off to their left. Alden turned to look at the baby dragon and asked, "So, he always returns to normal after a while? Huh. What happens to the Chaos Emeralds afterwards?" His question was directed at Tails, who was walking alongside him while looking down at him. The fox carrying his radar in his left hand, though it was closed at this moment. "They always get split up due to all the energy coming together and being used all at once. And there's no telling when they'll turn up. They could end up in the special zone or anywhere in the world," Tails replied. Spike nodded, having missed most of Tails' telling Twilight about the Chaos Emeralds earlier. When they got closer to the picnic table, Spike ran ahead to Twilight, leaping up to her and giving her a hug, glad to see that she was okay. This prompted Shining Armor and Chaos to move around the table and join in. Big Macintosh and Granny Smith also moving in to join in on the hug Appleboom was giving Applejack. When Tails reached the table, he looked over to Sonic and the two gave each other a high five with their free hands. Afterwards, as the hugging ponies and dragon began to back off, and Fluttershy came back over, Wave having shooed her away after telling her Jet was fine, Sonic took another bite of his chili dog and swallowed it before asking, "So Tails, would you say our little time crisis adventure is over now?" At that, almost everyone looked at the two-tailed fox and replied, "From the way things are looking at over here, it sure seems like it. But if we want to know for sure," he held up his radar in both hands and flipped it open, typing something into it. After a few seconds, he said, "According to these readings, a lot of the damage that Eggman and Discord caused to the Tiny Ear is healing up nicely. In Equestria, it looks like the recovery started in Ponyville, where the creature first appeared, and it's spreading out from there. The same thing is happening here, too. It'll take a little time, but all the damage should heal on its own soon." At that, Mayor smiled. "Really? That is wonderful news, Tails. Won't be long before I quit into town. The rest of Equestria is fully restored." Tails nodded. Scooter spoke up. "You guys sure well Eggman at Discord way past next week. They were so amazing." Sweet Belle looked at Tails and asked, "We helped, didn't we?" "No! You did not. You just sat back and cheered. You acted like a bunch of DBZ side characters and cheered. Alright, you did what a lot of DBZ side characters did. You just sat back, cheered, and offered viewpoints. That's all you did." Applebloom, while looking at Flake, said, "We tried to get Akira Mark's moral support before, but we didn't get anything that time. Maybe this fella get something?" Babs couldn't help but chuckle lightly at her cousin's ever-constant helpfulness. While Applebloom and Sweet Belle's sisters and Rainbow Dash tried to calm the now curious feelings down, Never Pony Philly glanced over at Sonic, Tails, and Twilight, casually blew her mate to the side, acting calm as ever. The three of them simply shared a smile with her, Sonic taking another bite of his chili dog a moment later. Pinkie Pie suddenly piped up, everyone's attention suddenly to her. "Silly Philly, so many plenty times for Key Marks later. Right now, we need to celebrate!" She then shifted her attention to the young girls. "Instead of a picnic like the one that was ruined earlier, let's have a party instead, and everyone's invited." At that, most of Sonic's friends began to look bothered as their eyes fell on the picnic table, the empty picnic table. Pinkie and most of the Equestrian residents quickly picked up on this, the former asking, "What's everyone sad about?" Before anyone could answer, Celestia spoke up. "Forgive me if I upset the mood earlier, Pinkie Pie, but our little Philly friends just reminded me of something." She looked at Sonic and asked, "What happened to Discord?" Sonic shrugged. "He got hit with the Elements of Harmony. It doesn't look like he's around, but the elements are supposed to do the trick against him, right?" Celestia leveled a stern gaze down. "I'm afraid that's not going to be enough. If the power of the Elements of Harmony was somehow offset by the power of Chaos Emeralds, then Discord could still be out there, somewhere free. I need to see proof he's not still free and causing chaos." Before anyone could say anything, they all heard a loud crashing sound coming from the other side of the nearby hill. Looking in its direction, Sonic and Tails stared to look before they both ran towards it, Main Six coming up behind him. When he reached the top of the hill, Sonic looked towards the other side. The girls were looking over and them doing the same. They all gasped in surprise. Near the foot of the hill, Dr. Eggman, Cubot, and Ormont, and the familiar Draconicos were laying on the ground, one of them not moving. Eggman groaned as he sat up. "Oh my head. What just happened?" Ormont and Cubot both popped out of their closed state, the latter grunting and worrying for a moment before saying, "I don't know, but my head feels funny too." Orbot looked at him and sighed. No, I refuse to read this line. This was not a funny joke the first time. Eggman, not realizing he was, began to sound and growl. Great. As if Discord filling of his voice chip all the time wasn't bad enough. He just couldn't settle on something that wasn't annoying and permanently sent him to death. No, he had to try every voice saying. Orbot spoke. Speaking of which, boss, it looks like Cupid is the only one who's back to where he started. Eggman turned to look at him, about to yell out when he was sure he was referring to him. But he stopped when he noticed the red-haired robot wasn't even looking at him. He followed his gaze to see Discord lying on the ground, body turned back to stone. Looking his petrified partner over, Eggman saw that his pose resembled what he had been locked in when he had retrieved from the Cavalier statue garden, and since his tail was pressed flat as though he had been sitting on it. His legs stuck straight out like his arms, and, while his head was facing forward, his eyes were off to the left, possibly at where Sonic and the Element Bears had been after their attack on the Time Eater. Also, the stone encasing him appeared to be a darker shade of gray, and both his arms and legs appeared to be mixed up. My, he just can't avoid to see me have his face freeze like that, can he? Still, those elements do pick such fine stone to prison him in, Orbot commented. Yeah, and this stone was stronger than the old one. Glad that it didn't happen to us. I wouldn't have minded, especially if it would have fixed you two. Eggman grumbled as he stood up straight. He walked over to Discord and stood at his side, placing his left arm on top of Draconicos' chest and neck, leaning on while looking at his face. He then spoke. What, Discord? I hope you're pleased. When you agreed to our partnership, I was expecting you to bring your A game, but instead, you spent most of your free time messing around and amusing yourself. Still, you're the best choice out of all of Equestria Sons. Working with Rudes in the past has made me averse to trusting girls with any of my plans. Guys, haven't you read Eggman's bio? He's a feminist! And even if there was anything onto King Sombra, I never want to work with him because he's a psycho. He started for a moment to thought what he learned about the former Crystal Empire king, before he continued, That's why I set you free, to help me in sharing the spoils of the end results. Alas, it seems the only thing that mattered to you was enjoying your freedom, so I hope you did. Because you know what? I'm never helping you again, you clown! As he was speaking, he raised his right fist up and brought it down on Discord's neck as he finished. A second later, Orbot pointed and started laughing at him as he hopped in place while clutching his hand, crying, Ow, my pinky! Orbot's laughing and abruptly stopped when a familiar pink pony popped out of nowhere on Discord's other side. Eggman falling backwards in shock, with a yelp, and the others, still on the hill, looking on confusion. Oh, I just heard my name, but don't be silly, Eggy. I'm not your pinky, she said. Eggman glared up at her. How did you get here? He exclaimed. Science! Fiction! Pinky grinned. Orbot looked at Orbot in confusion, the red-headed robot shrugging, also confused. Eggman growled. Great. I lose one clown just to get stuck with another. Pinky just continued to grin at him. A second later, Sonic ran up behind Eggman and stood there, prompting Pinky to wave at him. What are you waving at? Eggman asked. He got his answer a moment later when Sonic cleared his throat, and Eggman turned his head to look at him. Gah! Sonic! Hey, Eggman, I don't remember seeing your name on the list of party guests. The blue hedgehog replied, while untying the ribbon on his chilling dog, holding it between his left index finger and thumb, as he raised the gift to his mouth and started taking the last bites of it. Pinky looked down with wide eyes. Did you say pine? Before Sonic could answer her, Eggman turned over, getting on his hands and knees and pointing at Sonic as he yelled, You cocky little. You think you've defeated me, but this day's not over. You still want to fight, Sonic? I'll give you one right now. At defense his silly dog, Sonic waved a ribbon in Eggman's direction as he spunkily replied, I think I'll take a rain check on that, Doc. Looks like some of our guests have a few complaints about your brand of entertainment they'd like to discuss with you. Eggman looked confused by that statement until he turned his head to look up, to the left of the hill. Oh. He muttered as his anger quickly evaporated what he saw. In addition to Tails and the other 5 mares, he saw everyone else was now standing on the top of the hill, all of them glaring angrily down at him. Some, like Knuckles and Gilda, already making it clear they have no problem tearing him a new breathing hole. Orbot spoke up at the moment. I believed he expressed in his discretion is a better part of valor. Cupid asked, looked at him. Me didn't. Orbot replied, as you might put it. He grabbed Cupid's right arm with his left hand and suddenly shot away from the gallery, saying, Let's get the heck out of Dodge.
Soda Group Mayor stared surprised at this sudden action. Taking offense at this, Eggman stood up and ran after him, yelling, "Get back here, you cowards!" Sonic turned his head toward Eggman's direction, wanting to run but deciding not to go after him. He looked back at Pinkie Pie a second later and she asked, "Is there a pie going on somewhere?" Sonic opened his mouth to answer, but Rainbow interrupted him before it was shout, "Hey!" Spitfire turned with a hoof. "After them! Don't let them get away!" Sea saw Rainbow Dash and killed the spreading rings and took off, flying after Eggman in his hen spots while mostly everyone else turned their attention at the new Discord statue. A few minutes later, "Hey, he's almost here! You right over there, Big Mac?" Victor asked as he stood on Discord's left side, while the Red Stallion stood on his right side. Sonic and Espio behind their conquest, Knuckles and Applejack in front, Tails and Fluttershy hovering near the head as they tried to fine-tune the angle for Celestia to set him down as she held him with her magic. Sonic then brought out a marker and proceeded to draw on him. "Yup," Big Macintosh answered, both him and Vector ready to step up in case Discord started leaning on when he was set down, Pinkie standing at the princess's side, doing surveying while Sonic, Applejack, Knuckles, and Espio corrected the statue for the bomb, and Fluttershy and Tails corrected it from the top. It was close to touching the ground now, so they wanted to make sure it landed on properly.
Okay, a little to the left of the tail and slightly to the right above,"
Pinkie called while holding her hose up in front of her. Knuckles, Espio, and Fluttershy moved forward at that, making the adjustments.
"This is his bag right now,"
Pinkie said as they were done. Sonic and Applejack carefully making the correction. Afterwards, Pinkie tilted her head a bit before,
"Okay, make sure he goes down like that."
At that, Tails flew a bit above Discord, almost getting his tails caught in the tree branches, pushed his head down to simulate the pull of gravity.
Pinkie nodded. "Perfect! Okay, Princess, learn it!"
Celestia died and set Discord down, releasing her magic grip on him. For a second, Discord seemed to sit just fine on his tail, but the reeds blew and he started leaning backwards towards Big Macintosh. Red Stallion quickly rushed towards him and pressed his side against him, posting a Sonic, Applejack, Tails moved to help him. Once he stopped the leaning tower at Discord, Espio, Knuckles, and Vector moved to himself right again. "Alright guys, easy! Not too much!" Vector called as he tried to find Discord's center of balance. A few moments, he managed to get under him, just under him by a tree, enough for branches and leaves caught his horns. They then backed away slowly, watching, but the branches and leaves overhead held him up. "Alright, there we go," Vector said. Sonic gave Macintosh to toss a big, playful punch at his side while saying, "Pretty cool, big guy. You're one tough apple workhorse." Big Macintosh gave his usual calm but quiet smile at that. Celestia nodded. "Very well. That will do for now until we get proper pedestal for Discord." Knuckles stepped away from Discord along with the others and turned to look at him. He wiped his forehead. "I know he's tall, but I never would have guessed a guy like him was so heavy." Applejack chuckled at that. Lily glanced up at her sister. "Celestia, do we really need to pop him up? It would have been fine if we left him lying down."
First I asked, "Oh, but wouldn't it be rude to just leave him like that, Princess Luna?"
Xiao grunted. It doesn't matter. Either way, he's right where he belongs. He has some power, to be sure, but unless he learns how to use it properly, he does not deserve to be free. We'll have to learn his lesson if he wants to earn his freedom." Macintosh's words may have been harsh, but no one wanted to argue with him, especially since he was, to some degree, correct. Sonic looked up at Discord's face, once again frozen in a look of terror. He was manipulative. He tried to break ponies apart. He turned their lives upside down when they didn't want it. He went along with Eggman's scheme. It seems like he got a ways to go before he'll understand what it's like having friends and feelings. Xiao's right. He does need to learn a little restraint. Even so, he continued to stare up at the conquest with his arms crossed, still thinking he might be, at the very least, a halfway decent guy deep down, but disappointed that, for all the things he wanted to change, it seemed he didn't want to change himself. Celestia noticed the look on his face and thought to herself, So he had been quietly listening to everything that was just said, particularly what Xiao had said. The look on Sonic's face, however, reminded her of rain when Luna was imprisoned on her moon. It was the look of someone thinking about what had been and what was going to come in the future. Looking at Discord's statue, she began to wonder to herself, maybe. Before she could get too absorbed in her thoughts, Rainbow Dash, Gildosaur, and Spitfire returned. Celestia and the others looked up as they landed, all of them tired, especially Sora and Rainbow. Blaze stepped forward and asked, "What happened to the Eggman?" Spitfire panted, "He got away! His best along with his robots." Spike and every opponent looked at surprise like that. "They got away?" Twilight exclaimed. Rainbow threw her hose up. I can't believe it either! He's a fat guy! How can he run so fast? Sonic sighed. Never quite figured that one out either. Gilda stood up straight, walked over to him, and poked him in the chest with her claws, saying, Yeah? And what were you waiting for, an invitation? Why didn't you try to catch him? He's your enemy, crying out loud. Sonic shrugged. I don't know, Gilda. I just don't feel right attacking the guy when he's got nothing to defend himself with. He then lowered his eyes. Besides, given how fast you can fly, what's your excuse for not catching him? Gilda growled at that. Then he said, At least I'm not the one showing signs of weakness. Espio cleared his throat, causing Gilda and Sonic to look over to him. To show mercy is not weak. It is a sign of true strength. The chameleon stated while holding his right index and middle fingers up near his horn. Gilda just cut an eyebrow at this. Suddenly, Pinkie popped up between her and Sonic, Gilda backing away quickly with a yelp, while Sonic stared at Pink Pony using Super! So that means we could go to this party you mentioned earlier. Pinkie asked while placing her hose on Sonic's shoulders and staring into his eyes. Rarity cleared her throat and said, Pinkie, darling, I'm sure it was just a figure of speech, just like before. Before Pinkie could express her disappointment, Sonic spoke, Actually, Rarity, it wasn't. The pink Earth Pony perked up at sight of that. Teal said, Yeah, go to Twilight and Rainbow and asked, Like, Rainbow, you remember how back when we first met at the library, I said we were having a friendly get-together when the Tiny Ear showed up? The Unicorn, Pegasus, and Question glanced at each other for a moment, before they remembered and nodded. Rainbow said, Yeah, totally referred to as a friendly gathering or something. Why? Tails replied, Well, that's... What I actually mean was, we were having a party for Sonic. You see, it's his birthday today. That little bit of information was met with a number of wide eyes and surprised gasps, particularly for the equestrian residents. Pinkie Pie even did one of her famous floating gasps. Rainbow floated up to Sonic and asked, Today's your birthday, Sonic? Well, why didn't you say something? Sonic scratched his head, because time being messed up was a bigger thing to worry about than what day it was. Ring turned to Blaze and yelled, Boys, why don't you tell me his birthday day was coming up? The cat sternly replied, I tried to tell you, Marine. I sent you a letter. I sent you a messenger. I even personally visited you when I didn't receive an answer from you. I tried to tell you, but you kept talking about your most recent adventure, the newest one you were setting out on. You hardly listened to me. In the end, I was left with no choice but to go without you, if I wanted to make it in time for the party. Marion blushed and grinned weakly at this explanation. Nearby, Fluttershy murmured, Oh my goodness! Twilight looked at Sonic and asked, How old are you? He answered, 17. Rarity began panic. Oh, no. This simply will not do. How could I not know it was a friend's birthday today? Elsa raised a hoof to her chin as she muttered, Do we have any sour left over? Piggy cheered, Oh my goodness! That means we can have a really super duper huge party to celebrate! Blaze spoke up above the noise. Doesn't look like much of a party if you ask why. That caused a lot of frantic excitement and talking to die down almost instantly. Nope, too busy playing with my tarot to do this next line. Well, you can't blame her. If this is what you guys are having a party, doesn't look like it. Jet smugly transferred for his teammate. Blaze spoke up. Well, we did have a party all set up before. We had everything, the cake, the decorations, the refreshments, the snacks. Looking over the empty picnic tables, he had. But when the time eater showed up, it took everything we prepared. She looked down on the ground and said, It looks like we're not going to get any of it back. Sonic's friends looked sad or said that. Sonic scratched the side of his head. Sorry, guys. In the other situation, he'd do his best to perk his friends up and help them look at the bright side of things, especially if a party set up for everyone. But his friends had put a lot of work into setting up a surprise party for him, and he knew they all wanted to enjoy it just as much as he did. At the moment, he wasn't quite sure what to say to them. Tail shrugged sadly. Guess we'll just have to have a playing party instead. It'll take too long to bake a new cake and get new decorations and everything. Pinkie Pie popped up beside him with a smile on her face and patted him on the head while saying, Don't you worry, thinking, Tails. I think Pinkie Pie will take care of everything. She then trotted away, everyone looking at her with confused curiosity. Tails looked at the others a moment later. I think Pinkie Pie? Spike and the girls just shrugged down, all of them looking back at Pinkie Pie a few seconds later. Everyone watched as the pink party plane happily walked past the fence, towards the lake, and into the portal that was in front of the lake. Hey, what's he doing? Vector asked. Where does he go? Charmy wondered. Tails opened his radar and pointed directly to the portal. A few moments later, he said, Looks like that portal leads back to Equestria.
Maybe Pinky knows that too?
Silver asked. Why is she going back then? And after what she just said now? Sonic shrugged. Maybe she's going back to Secret Corner. Blaze held a hand to her chin. The Papa no party. Sure, she must know it'll take time, even for her. Gilda smirked. Oh, this'll be good to watch. Spike and the ponies didn't say anything. They had a feeling Pinky was surprised at all. Seeing that nothing seemed to be happening, and everyone else was mostly silent for a moment, Shiny looked over at Xiao and carefully walked over to him. The black hedgehog held his arms crossed as he looked at the portal Pinky disappeared to from under the shade of the tree. Sonic and Twilight noticed what the unicorn stallion was doing and turned their heads to watch him. Once he was right next to him, Shiny quietly asked, Shadow? The black hedgehog turned his head to look at the stallion, his rest on his face stoic as ever. Shiny went slightly at this, but he pressed on. Listen, I'm sure it's nothing like what you went through, but I nearly lost one of the most important ponies in my life to Eggman Discord. I could do nothing to stop him. I walked a mile in your shoes, and it really showed me a few things. I'm sorry what I said to you. You didn't deserve a word for it. Xiao stared down for a few tense moments, expressing not betraying a single thought going through his head. Hensley turned away and said, Fine. Shining frowned at that. I looked back over his shoulder and sought for help. Blue Hedgehog shrugged, having not heard what was said between the two, and gestured to Stallion to come over. Twilight glanced at Sonic as her brother walked over. She understood just as well as Shiny did at what gesture meant. She looked back at the white stallion as he came to a stop in front of them. Sonic looked up at him and asked, So what's up? Sonic replied, I was just saying sorry for what I said to him earlier, but all he said was fine. Sonic gave a sympathetic smile. Well then, don't worry about it, dude. That pretty much means he's not going to hold you what he said against him now. That's about as good as he gets when he doesn't want to say what he say. Sonic briefly glanced back in Xiao's direction before giving Sonic a small smile. Suddenly, everyone heard Pinky's voice call, Incoming! They all looked back at the portal to see her party cannon pointing through it. It fired a second layer, causing nearly everyone to get down and cover their heads. As they stayed like this, the pirate cannon fired several more times, yet nobody seemed to get hit by whatever was being shot at it. After a couple seconds, following one last shot, they all heard a loud thump along with several smaller thumps followed by Pinky saying, Da! Everyone that covered their heads began to stand up at that, looking around. What they saw amazed them. Stretched across the side of the tree, facing everybody, was a white banner that read, Happy Birthday, Sonic. Each word colored in red, yellow, and blue, respectively. Some smaller decorations hanging from the leaves. Pinky stood across from a tree, in front of a white unicorn mare whose mane and tail were similar in color to Sonic armor, wearing dark purple sunglasses, had a double quiver for a cutie mark, and was standing behind a turntable. You know, you could say double quave. It's a record player! Come on! Gray like nothing weird happened, and a gray earth pony mare with grayish hair who wore a pink bow tie and white collar had a purple trouble cut for a cutie mark, holding its cello with her left foreleg and her bow and riot. She was considerably more surprised about this whole situation. What that was on the picnic table was particularly amazing. The table now had plates filled with cupcakes, candies, other sweets, and amazingly, chili dogs, as well as cups of refreshments, including a few jugs of the Apple family's famous cider. At the center of it all was a large 3-layer cake frosted and decorated to look like Green Hill Zone. Topping the cake were what appeared to be the Chaos Emeralds, the Elements of Harmony, and most likely made of hardened sugar or candy. And going around the cake atop the layers below were little plastic figures of Sonic, Tails, Spike, Main 6, and anyone else who was at the party. It may not have been but it still looked delicious all the same. What? How in the world? Blaze stammered. She looked at Twilight as the unicorn spoke. Don't worry about it too much, Blaze. It's just Pinkie Pie. Sonic looked at her for a moment before smiling. Yeah, you're right. That is Pinkie Pie. He then looked at the party pony and asked, So what's all this about, Pinky? In this, the pink pony slipped around the table past Gilda, who was just giving her a glare that she didn't notice, and wrapped her right foreleg around the blue hedgehog's shoulders while standing on her hind legs. Then smiled at him. That's easy, silly. I love throwing parties. It's my special talent, does he know? And when Blaze said the party that he and your friends had prepared for you was ruined, this had to fix that. And now we got a real doozy of a party. And you know why?
Sonic looked back at her without answering, so she explained, "First, it's your birthday. That's why your name's all over it. Second, every pun and every one's totally invited to it. And finally, this is the more important now, since you got good friends. They put so much effort to putting a surprise party for you, only to have it ruined by those mean pants. So this party is definitely for them to enjoy too." Despite how fast he explained it all, they all seemed to get it, as Sonic and almost everyone began to smile at her. Of course, there was a few party naysayers. The Babylon Rogues proved once again to be sour apples in a buns, as Ted said, yeah, no thanks. We helped you guys and all, but that's it for us. We got better things to do." With that, he, Wave, and Storm, though it looked like he really wanted to stay, turned to leave. They didn't manage to get very far, however, before Pinky suddenly rose up in front of them, causing Jet and Wave to hide behind Storm, both of them peering out from behind the albatross, all of them suddenly afraid of her. It was not her sudden appearance that shocked them. It was the grin and wide eyes she was making as she stood in front of them. "Stay for the party!" She stated slowly in no certain terms. Storm, Jet, and Wave slowly back away from her at that. Pinky slowly following them, making clear that anyone else who will leave will suffer the same fate. Back over everyone else, Luna looked at Celestia and begged, "Oh, sister, can we please stay for this party? Please. It'll be a fine private celebration for Time's restoration and Sonic's birthday." Celestia let out a sigh, smiled to let her sister know she was joking. "Oh, very well, Luna. Sometimes you could be such a fool." Shining and Keen smiled at each other, figuring that meant they could stay as well. "School grammar, fellow consignors. A Pinkie Pie party? This is gonna be awesome!" Apple Bloom went to Basil and said, "Pinkie Pie sounds amazing pirates bands. You really like it." Horace Philly certainly replied, "Well, it's just singles, cuz." Sleep Bell asked, "Something wrong, Babs?" Babs rubbed the back of her head while she replied, "Well, no. Can't tell my folks to come straight home after me and the other King Microsayers have done it to me. I was heading home when all this happened. How am I going to explain this to them?" Apple Bloom, Scaloo, and Sleep Bell looked sad they wouldn't be able to hang out with Babs, until Applejack stepped forward and placed a hoof on Philly's shoulders. When Babs looked up at her, she smiled. "Now, just tell your mom and dad that the author had this huge desire to put in everybody from the show into this, and just tell her that's why you were late." "Oh, well, I suppose that makes sense." Brainbird looked over at Strawheart and said, "Little Strawheart, if you won't, we can get you back to Appaloosa. I'll go with you to help your little fellow Buffalo. I feel mighty awful about you getting yanked away from like that. You don't mind, will you?" Little Strongheart smiled at him. "Not at all." Word. "Parties do not compute. However, I will stay and serve a party to learn more about them." Fruit smirked over his shadow. "So, what are you going to do? Are you going to take a chance to try to sneak past Pinkie Pie?" Shell just grunted in annoyance, but deep down, he actually did want to stay. No one else had any major objections for staying to the party, so Pinkie looked back into the midst of the guests and said, "All right, then." She pointed a hoof at final scratch at Octavia, who appeared to recover from suddenly being fired out of a cannon. The former grinning and placing a record on a turntable, song ready to start from the speakers. "Let's party!" Meanwhile, in a field far away, Eggman, with his hands on his knees, panted as he looked down at the crowds below him. "Blasted Pegasi and that Griffith. I can't remember the last time I had to run so fast," he breathed. Orbot and Cupid hopped up behind him, Cupid saying, "It's been a while, hasn't it? Not since the days of the blast process, in fact, when you're more involved with Sonic's blasting." Eggman turned slightly to inquire back at him. "No, it has not." Orbot said, "Boss, please, you nearly ran a marathon for your latest escape. Don't agitate yourself further." Eggman growled and clenched both his hands in fists, thumping against his knees. "Urgh! I can't believe Discord couldn't act serious for more than 5 seconds when it really counted. Him and his games." He let out a shout to the sky, exclaimed, "I need something to do. Preparing a new scheme, getting a bite to eat, watching cartoons, anything!" Orbot perked up after a moment and said, "Sounds like you could use a vacation, boss. At least a break from those planning misdeeds." Eggman grunted, "More like I need a vacation from you two." Orbot wanted a finger. Now, Sonic's surely spending time with his friends, old and new. Why not spend some time with people you know? For some time now, you've been taking a night off every week to go somewhere you haven't told us about. You can start by doing that." Eggman held a hand to his chin, thinking about it a moment before saying, "Not a bad idea, actually. I'll have to check when they're meeting next, but that could do me some good."
getting together with old faces, talking about what's been happening lately. Of course, imparting a few pearls of wisdom. I honestly enjoy telling people what to do. Grin outdoors while Orbot facepalmed and Cupid stared at him curiously. A familiar voice spoke up a second later, startling them all. Yes, that's one thing I've noticed about you, Doctor. The three of them turned to look behind them, where they saw where the voice had come from. Orbot and Cupid looked around in confusion, not seeing anything, but Eggman saw a familiar figure standing across from him. What? Discord? But how? He exclaimed, starting to see a transparent version of the Deconic standing there at his full height while smirking down at him. Orbot and Cupid looked up at Eggman in confusion. Moment thinking he was talking to nothing. Boss? Orbot asked. Discord spoke before he could say anything else. Orbot and Cupid hearing him but not seeing him. Those elements of harmony delivered a rather powerful blast. It seems to knock my spirit clean out of my body. He stressed. Feels good to be able to move. Eggman asked. So you weren't actually back there, only your body? Discord replied, well, I'm not going back to it right away. I'm serious with Celestia, those ponies, and her new, I suppose, allies now. I want to listen to as little whatever they have to say as possible. Means less rolling my eyes when unable to. After a moment, he let his arms drop to his side and sulked out loud. Now, only I could use my chaos like this. It would be perfect. Eggman grunted. Oh, I feel so bad for you, Discord. I guess that means you'll have to delay the pleasure of doing what you want to do yet again. Discord crossed his arms. Hey, I played my part, Doc. I did what you asked me to. The only complaint I had was that you weren't thinking big or chaotic enough. So why don't you use that big brain of yours to come up with a way to free my body? Like, I don't know, find 6 creatures to really make a mess of Twilight and her friends. Make it something really chaotic. Eggman replied, as I already told your body, I'm not helping you out anymore. I thought your chaos would be helpful, but it proved us to be as much help as it was trouble. You spent entirely too much time goofing off when you could have been helping me get started on rewriting history. Well, you can stay in that statue for the rest of time, all I care. Besides, I can't just automatically think of a plan to carry it out. I'm going to have to do some research first. Maybe I'll come across something mysterious that's worth investigating. Discord rolled his eyes. Blah, 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 blah. You know, Doc, you think about things way too much and don't plan for the unexpected. If that brilliant plan you came up with had more chaos in it, you would have worked perfectly. Eggman said, don't you start preaching to me. Your chaos caused far too much trouble in the end, since even you couldn't predict what happened with Sonic, and he ultimately burned both of us. A little more thought on your part would have been much appreciated. Discord turned away from Eggman, arms still crossed, leaving to a scientist a decent count of value of unpredictability, despite how common it is. He muttered, I heard that. Discord looked at Eggman. Tell me something, Doc. He turned around fully. Have you ever won before? Eggman hesitated for a moment before saying, there were times when I've come close. Very, very close indeed. Orbot and Cupid looked at each other knowingly at that. Discord raised an eyebrow. So, no. Eggman didn't answer him, instead showing him a sour look. The crowd sighed. Well, that's encouraging. At least I'm not as a big loser as you are. Eggman retorted, oh yes, because sitting as a stone statue for 1,000 years is so much better. At least I've had time to come up with and put into motion many different plans instead of randomly causing trouble and assume that no one can stop me like you did before. The only plots you come up with have all your enjoyment at the center of them. I, on the other hand, have plenty of experience when it comes to plans. Knowing the proud, tall-weighted human stood, Discord smirked. Ah yes, what was I thinking? Of course you have experience. Not to mention muscle like you said before, because you're constantly being foiled by a meddlesome hedgehog and his friends. Let's see. They've wrecked nearly every basic plan you come up with. An ancient water monster turned on you. Your grandfather nearly destroyed you along with this planet. Several of your own creations have turned on you, and while Discord was talking, Eggman's anger had been growing at what he already said. Now he couldn't take it anymore. In anger, he ran towards Discord, swung his right fist at him while saying, oh, shut up! Discord jumped back to dodge it, despite the fact it would have gone through him anyway, causing Eggman to spin on one leg while falling to his back. Discord laughed, as did Orbot, and said, oh, look at that. Another genius scheme concocted by the brilliant Dr. Eggman. He then lifted off the ground, and while floating above it, began to stroke his arms and legs while he was on his back, almost like he was swimming. While he did start floating away from Eggman, who began to stand up afterwards, Orbot Cubot watched in silence as Eggman angrily ran after the conquest of spirit, sinking his fist and screaming the entire time.